In a small, quiet observatory far from the bright lights of cities, Nathan Cole adjusted his glasses and leaned closer to the screen. The room was dimly lit, with only the soft hum of computers breaking the silence. His assistant, Laura Bennett, sat nearby, sipping coffee as she double-checked the data scrolling across her monitor. They had been working late into the night, searching for something, anything, that might explain the strange signals they'd picked up earlier. It had started as a faint blip on their instruments, almost like static. At first, Nathan thought it was just interference from Earth's satellites or solar flares, but the more he analyzed it, the less sense that explanation made. This signal was different. It pulsed in patterns, repeating itself over and over. To Nathan, it felt deliberate, as if someone, or something, was trying to communicate. "Laura," Nathan said suddenly, pointing at the screen. "Look at this. Do you see how these pulses are grouped? That's not random." Laura set down her coffee cup and moved closer, her brow furrowed as she studied the numbers. "You're right. It looks organized, like a code." For hours, they worked together, running calculations and cross-referencing the signal against known frequencies. By dawn, they had managed to isolate parts of it. Some sections repeated simple mathematical sequences, while others seemed to form shapes when plotted on a graph. It wasn't language, not yet, but it was clearly intelligent. Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that they were onto something big. He called Dr. Rachel Monroe, a linguist who specialized in decoding alien messages. When she arrived at the observatory the next day, her eyes widened at what Nathan showed her. "This is incredible," Rachel said, flipping through pages of notes. "If I didn't know better, I'd say this is some kind of warning." "A warning?" Laura asked, frowning. "From who?" Rachel hesitated before answering. "That's the thing. Whoever sent this message, they're not using any language we've ever seen before. But there are hints here, fragments we can piece together. For example," she tapped one line of text, "prepare," and then later, "war." The word hung heavy in the air. Nathan felt a chill run down his spine. Was this real? Could aliens really be sending humanity a message about war? Determined to find answers, Nathan decided to share their findings with the United Nations Space Council. If anyone could figure out what to do next, it would be them. He wrote up a detailed report and sent it off, hoping someone would take it seriously. Days passed without a response. Nathan grew restless, pacing the observatory floor while Laura tried to keep busy recalibrating equipment. Then, one evening, a call came through. It was Daniel Hayes, a member of the council. His voice was tense but urgent. "We've reviewed your report," Daniel said, "and we think you need to come to Geneva immediately. There's something you should see." Nathan glanced at Laura, who looked equally surprised. "What is it?" he asked. Daniel paused before answering. "Satellite images, near Neptune. You'll understand when you get here." As Nathan hung up the phone, he couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and dread. Whatever was waiting for them out there, it was clear that life on Earth, and perhaps beyond, was about to change forever. Nathan and Laura arrived in Geneva 2 days later, their minds racing with questions. The United Nations Space Council had arranged a private meeting in a secure conference room. When they walked in, they found Daniel Hayes waiting for them, along with a group of scientists, military officers, and government officials. The atmosphere was tense, almost electric. "Thank you for coming," Daniel said, shaking Nathan's hand firmly. "We've reviewed your findings, and, well, let's just say we have reason to believe you're onto something serious." He gestured toward a large screen at the front of the room. With a click of a button, an image appeared, a grainy but clear photo taken by a satellite orbiting Neptune. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than a cluster of shadows against the icy blue backdrop of space, but as the image zoomed in, the truth became undeniable. There were ships, dozens of them, enormous, sleek, and unlike anything humanity had ever built. Laura gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Are those? Yes, Daniel confirmed grimly. They're not ours, and they're moving closer to Earth every day. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the screen, trying to process what they were seeing. Nathan felt his heart pounding in his chest. This wasn't just a theoretical threat anymore. It was real. One of the military officers, a stern-looking man named General Carter, stepped forward. We've been tracking these vessels for weeks now. They're fast, faster than anything we've got. If they keep this pace, they'll reach Earth in less than 6 months. 6 months. The words echoed in Nathan's mind. That wasn't much time to prepare for something like this. Daniel turned back to Nathan and Laura. Your signal. It's the key here. If we can decode more of it, maybe we can figure out what they want, or at least buy ourselves some time. Rachel Monroe, who had joined them in Geneva, nodded in agreement. We need to focus on the language. There might be clues about their intentions, or even weaknesses we can exploit. But not everyone in the room shared their optimism. A politician from Russia stood up, his face red with anger. This is ridiculous. We don't even know if they're hostile. Maybe they're just passing through. Why are we jumping to conclusions? General Carter shot him a sharp look. Because we can't afford to wait and see. If they mean us harm, we need to be ready. The argument escalated quickly, voices rising as people debated the best course of action. Some called for immediate militarization, while others urged caution, suggesting that diplomacy might still be possible. In the chaos, Nathan felt overwhelmed. He hadn't signed up for this. He was just an astronomer, not a strategist or a soldier. As the meeting dragged on, Daniel pulled Nathan and Laura aside. Listen, he said quietly, we're going to need all the help we can get. I'm putting together a team to investigate further. You two will be part of it. Nathan blinked in surprise. What kind of team? A crew, Daniel replied, led by Captain Olivia Grant. She's one of our best. Her ship, the Eclipse Asterisk, is already being prepped for launch. You'll go out there, make contact if you can, and gather intel. We need to know what we're dealing with. Laura hesitated. And if they attack us? Daniel didn't answer right away. Instead, he gave them a long, steady look. Then we pray you're fast enough to warn us. By the time Nathan and Laura left the meeting, the weight of the situation pressed down on them. Back at their hotel, they barely spoke, each lost in their own thoughts. The enormity of what lay ahead was sinking in. Out there, beyond the safety of Earth, an unknown force was approaching. And whether they liked it or not, they were now at the center of humanity's response. Nathan glanced at Laura, who was staring out the window at the city lights below. Do you think we can do this? He asked softly. She turned to him, her expression resolute. We don't have a choice, do we? He sighed, knowing she was right. Whatever happened next, they would have to face it together. The journey to the alien fleet took nearly 2 weeks. Nathan and Laura spent most of that time on board the Eclipse Asterisk, a sleek starship commanded by Captain Olivia Grant. The ship was a mix of cutting-edge technology and practical design, built for both exploration and combat. Despite its advanced systems, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling of unease as they approached the coordinates near Neptune. Olivia was a calm but firm leader, her sharp eyes always scanning the situation. She had welcomed Nathan and Laura aboard with polite professionalism, though it was clear she wasn't thrilled about having civilians on such a dangerous mission. Still, she respected their expertise and made sure they were included in every briefing. As the Eclipse Asterisk drew closer to the alien ships, the crew grew quieter. The vessels loomed ahead, massive and ominous against the blackness of space. They were shaped like jagged spires, their metallic surfaces reflecting faint light from the distant sun. It was hard to tell how many there were, dozens, maybe hundreds. Each one seemed to pulse with an eerie energy. All right, team, Olivia said over the intercom, her voice steady. We're going in. Stay alert. The asterisk eclipse asterisk moved cautiously, broadcasting a series of signals in multiple languages, including fragments of the decoded alien message. Nathan watched anxiously from the observation deck as the ship entered the outer edges of the fleet. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, without warning, one of the alien ships detached itself from the group and began moving toward them. "It's coming closer," someone shouted from the control room. "Hold your positions," Olivia ordered. Her tone was calm, but Nathan could see the tension in her grip on the command console. The alien ship slowed as it approached, hovering just outside the asterisk eclipse asterisk's shields. Its surface shimmered, almost liquid-like, before a section of it opened up, revealing a docking port. Without hesitation, the alien ship locked onto the asterisk eclipse asterisk and pulled it closer. "This isn't good," Laura whispered, gripping the edge of her seat. Moments later, the aliens boarded. They emerged from the airlock in a blur of movement, their forms towering and insectoid. Their bodies were covered in a shiny, segmented exoskeleton, and their glowing eyes scanned the room with unsettling precision. There were 6 of them, each carrying what looked like weapons, but instead of firing, they simply stood there, waiting. Captain Olivia stepped forward, raising her hands to show she meant no harm. "We come in peace," she said slowly, hoping the gesture would be understood. One of the aliens tilted its head, then raised a claw-like appendage. Suddenly, a voice filled everyone's minds, not spoken aloud, but projected directly into their thoughts. It was deep and resonant, vibrating with authority. "You are primitive," the voice said. "Your resistance is futile." Nathan froze, his heart pounding. This wasn't communication, it was domination. The aliens weren't interested in talking, they were delivering a message of their own. "We don't want war," Olivia replied, keeping her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "Tell us why you're here." The lead alien, identified as Zin-9 in the telepathic exchange, stepped closer. "Your planet has resources we require. Surrender them, or face annihilation." Laura gasped softly, clutching Nathan's arm. The room felt colder than ever, the weight of the alien's words pressing down on everyone. Nathan tried to speak, his mind racing. "There must be another way. We can work together, share knowledge, find solutions." Zin-9 paused, its glowing eyes narrowing. For a brief second, Nathan thought he saw something flicker in its expression, a hint of curiosity, or perhaps doubt. But then the alien turned away, dismissing him entirely. "You are too weak to understand," Zin-9 said coldly. "Prepare yourselves. Our fleet will arrive in 6 months." With that, the aliens returned to their ship, leaving the crew of the asterisk eclipse asterisk shaken but alive. As the alien vessel detached and rejoined the fleet, Olivia clenched her fists, anger simmering beneath her composed exterior. "Well," she muttered, breaking the silence. "That went well." No one laughed. The reality of the situation was sinking in. Humanity had been given an ultimatum, and time was running out. Back on Earth, the news of the alien ultimatum spread like wildfire. Governments held emergency meetings, and military bases around the world went on high alert. People watched the skies with a mix of fear and disbelief, wondering if this was truly the end. Nathan and Laura returned from their mission aboard the asterisk eclipse asterisk, bringing with them first-hand accounts of the aliens' demands. Their report only deepened the divide among world leaders. President Alan Carter of the United States stood at the forefront of those calling for action. A tall man with graying hair and a commanding presence, he addressed the United Nations in a televised speech. "We cannot sit idly by while an alien fleet threatens our planet," he declared. "We must prepare to defend ourselves, no matter the cost." But not everyone agreed. Prime Minister Elena Torres of Spain argued for restraint. A soft-spoken woman with sharp eyes, she urged her fellow leaders to consider diplomacy. "War should always be our last option," she said. "These beings may not understand us yet, but we can still try to reach them." The debate raged on, splitting nations into two camps. Some began fortifying their borders and building weapons, while others focused on finding peaceful solutions. Amidst the chaos, Nathan and Rachel worked tirelessly in a makeshift lab, trying to decode more of the alien language. They hoped that understanding the aliens' words might reveal weaknesses, or at least help humanity find common ground. One night, as Nathan pored over data, Rachel leaned back in her chair and sighed. "Do you think we're doing the right thing?" she asked. "I mean, what if we're missing something? What if there's another way?" Nathan didn't answer right away. He stared at the screen in front of him, where fragments of the alien message glowed faintly. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I do know we can't give up. If we stop trying, then they win, no matter what happens next." Meanwhile, underground movements sprang up across the globe. In New York City, a young tech prodigy named Ethan Park hacked into old government databases, searching for forgotten technologies that could give humanity an edge. With the help of his friend Maria Lopez, an activist who organized protests demanding unity, Ethan uncovered blueprints for experimental weapons and energy shields developed decades ago but never used. "These could work," Ethan said excitedly, showing Maria the designs. "If we adapt them, maybe we can hold our own against those ships." Maria nodded, though her expression remained troubled. "Even if we build these, it won't solve everything. People are scared, Ethan. Scared enough to turn on each other." She wasn't wrong. Protests erupted in cities worldwide, some calling for peace and others demanding war. Soldiers patrolled streets, and curfews were imposed in several countries. The tension was palpable, a constant reminder of how fragile humanity's unity really was. Captain Olivia Grant also struggled with the weight of her role. Back on Earth after the encounter with the aliens, she trained her crew relentlessly, preparing them for battle. But late at night, alone in her quarters, she questioned whether violence was truly the answer. She replayed Zen 9's words in her mind. Asterisk, your resistance is futile. Asterisk, was it? Or was there still hope? One evening, Olivia found herself talking to Nathan during a briefing. "Do you think we stand a chance?" she asked quietly. Nathan hesitated before answering. "I think we have to believe we do. Otherwise, well, what's the point?" Olivia managed a small smile. "You're stronger than you look, Nathan." As weeks passed, humanity began to mobilize. Factories churned out new weapons, and volunteers signed up to join the defense effort. Underground groups like Ethan's shared their innovations with anyone willing to listen. Slowly, painfully, the fractured pieces of Earth's nations started coming together. Not perfectly, but enough to form a united front. It wasn't peace, and it wasn't harmony, but it was a start. And as Nathan looked up at the stars one night, he couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. Humanity had faced challenges before, and somehow, they had always endured. This time would be no different, or so he told himself. The 6 months passed in a blur of preparation and fear. Factories worked around the clock, churning out weapons, shields, and ships. Scientists like Nathan and Rachel spent every waking moment decoding more of the alien language, searching for anything that could give humanity an advantage. Underground groups led by Ethan Park and Maria Lopez distributed their innovations to resistance cells worldwide, ensuring even the smallest communities had tools to defend themselves. Despite the chaos, a fragile sense of unity began to take hold. Finally, the day arrived. The alien fleet loomed on the horizon, blotting out the sun as it entered Earth's orbit. Humanity's forces gathered beyond the moon, determined to meet the invaders head-on. The Earth Defense Coalition, EDC for short, had assembled every available ship, from sleek military vessels to retrofitted civilian transports. Among them was the Eclipse Asterisk, now upgraded with experimental technology developed by Ethan and Laura. Captain Olivia Grant stood on the bridge of the Eclipse Asterisk, her jaw set with determination. Her crew bustled around her, running final checks on weapons and shields. Nathan and Laura were there too, watching the screens nervously as the alien ships grew larger on the radar. "All right, everyone," Olivia said, her voice firm but calm. "This is it. Remember your training and stay focused. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for Earth." The battle began with a deafening roar. Alien ships surged forward, firing beams of energy that lit up the darkness of space. Human pilots maneuvered their vessels with skill and desperation, dodging attacks while returning fire. Explosions erupted all around, lighting up the void like fireworks. The humans were outnumbered and outgunned, but they fought with everything they had. On the Eclipse asterisk, Nathan gripped the back of a console, his knuckles white. He had never been in combat before, and the reality of it was overwhelming. Laura stayed close, her eyes glued to the monitors as she relayed information to the crew. "They're targeting the command ships," she shouted over the noise. "If we can disable their leaders, we might have a chance." Olivia nodded sharply. "Prepare strike teams. We're going in." She led a small group of fighters, including the Eclipse asterisk, toward the largest alien vessel, the one Zin-9 had commanded during their first encounter. It was heavily guarded, but Olivia's plan relied on speed and surprise. As the human ships darted through the chaos, they unleashed a barrage of missiles and energy blasts, creating an opening. Inside the alien command ship, the air was thick with tension. Zin-9 watched the battle unfold on glowing screens, its glowing eyes flickering with frustration. For the first time, doubt crept into its mind. These primitive beings were proving harder to crush than expected. When the Eclipse asterisk breached the ship's defenses, Zin-9 stepped forward to confront the intruders. Olivia and her team moved cautiously through the alien corridors, their weapons drawn. The insectoid aliens swarmed around them, forcing the humans to fight their way deeper into the ship. Finally, they'd reached the central chamber. Zin-9 stood alone, towering over them. Its voice filled their minds once again. "You are persistent," it said, its tone unreadable. "But persistence will not save you." Olivia stepped forward, lowering her weapon slightly. "We don't want this war," she said firmly. "We know you're desperate, but killing us won't fix whatever problem you're running from." Zin-9 hesitated, its glowing eyes narrowing. For a moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, it spoke again. "Our galaxy dies. Our people flee. You cannot understand what it means to lose everything." Nathan stepped forward, his voice trembling but clear. "We may not understand everything, but we know what it means to survive. Let us help you. There has to be another way." Zin-9 stared at him, its expression unreadable. The battle raged outside. But in that moment, the fate of both species hung in the balance. Zin-9 stood silent for what felt like an eternity. The battle outside continued to rage, but inside the alien command ship, time seemed to slow. Nathan held his breath, waiting for the alien leader's response. Olivia kept her weapon lowered, though her hand hovered near the trigger, ready for anything. Finally, Zin-9 spoke again, its telepathic voice calm but heavy with resignation. "You speak of survival," it said. "But your kind has always fought among yourselves. How can we trust you?" Olivia took a step forward, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. "Because we're standing here now, not as nations or armies, but as one people. We've put aside our differences to face this threat together. Isn't that worth something?" Zin-9 tilted its head, its glowing eyes flickering as if considering her words. For the first time, Nathan noticed a crack in the alien's cold demeanor. It wasn't just anger or aggression. It was fear. Fear of losing its people, its home, everything it had ever known. "We didn't come here to conquer," Zin-9 admitted after a long pause. "We came because we have nowhere else to go. Our galaxy is dying, and we need resources to survive. But when we saw your planet, we thought resistance would be futile." Nathan swallowed hard, his mind racing. He stepped closer, ignoring the danger. "If you destroy us, you'll lose any chance of finding help. But if you work with us, maybe we can find a solution together." Zin 9 studied him carefully, its massive form casting a shadow over the chamber. Then, slowly, it lowered its weapon. "Your proposal intrigues me, but my people will not accept surrender lightly. They are afraid, as you are." Olivia nodded, understanding the weight of the moment. "Then let's start small. Call off the attack, and we'll do the same. Give us a chance to talk. Really talk." For several tense seconds, Zin 9 didn't move. Then, with a deep hum, it raised one claw-like appendage and sent a signal. Moments later, the alien fleet ceased its assault, pulling back into formation. The human forces hesitated before following suit, confusion rippling through their ranks. Back on Earth, news of the ceasefire spread quickly. People watched broadcasts of the alien ships retreating, unsure whether to feel relief or suspicion. Leaders debated fiercely, some calling the truce a victory, while others accused the EDC of weakness. But for the first time in months, there was hope, even if it was fragile. On board the Eclipse Nathan and Laura exchanged weary smiles. They had done it, or at least they had bought humanity some time. Ethan and Maria's innovations had proven invaluable, giving the human fleet just enough of an edge to hold their ground. Rachel's decoding efforts had uncovered clues about the aliens' desperation, helping Nathan and Olivia appeal to Zin 9's sense of reason. As the days passed, negotiations began. Representatives from both sides met aboard a neutral vessel, working to establish terms for coexistence. It wasn't easy. Mistrust ran deep on both sides, but progress was made. The aliens agreed to share their technology in exchange for access to Earth's resources, provided strict limits were imposed to protect the planet. Not everyone was happy. Protests erupted across Earth, with some demanding the aliens leave entirely and others accusing world leaders of selling out humanity. Yet amidst the chaos, small acts of cooperation began to emerge. Scientists worked alongside alien engineers, exchanging knowledge and ideas. Refugees from the alien fleet, many of them sick or injured, were granted temporary shelter under careful supervision. Captain Olivia Grant found herself reflecting on the cost of peace. She had lost friends and crew members during the battle, and the scars of war lingered in her mind. But she also saw glimpses of a brighter future, a future where two vastly different species might learn to live together. One evening, as the Eclipse orbited Earth, Nathan joined Olivia on the observation deck. Together, they gazed down at the blue-green planet below. "Do you think we made the right choice?" Nathan asked quietly. Olivia didn't answer right away. Then, after a long pause, she nodded. "I think so. It's messy and it's hard, but it's hope. And right now, that's all we got." Nathan smiled faintly, looking out at the stars. For the first time in months, he allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, they could make it work. Months turned into a year, and the uneasy truce between humanity and the alien fleet began to solidify. Earth's cities slowly returned to a sense of normalcy, though reminders of the war were everywhere. Craters scared the landscape, and memorials for the fallen stood in every town. Yet amidst the scars, there were also signs of progress. Factories once dedicated to weapons now produced shared technologies, blending human ingenuity with alien advancements. Scientists worked side by side, learning from each other and finding solutions neither species could have achieved alone. Nathan spent most of his time in a joint research facility near Geneva, where he collaborated with both human and alien experts. The aliens, who called themselves the Vinkar, had revealed more about their dying galaxy, a place consumed by a mysterious energy collapse. Their desperation made more sense now, though it didn't erase the pain they had caused. Still, Nathan couldn't help but feel a strange connection to Zin 9, whose leadership had shifted from aggression to cautious cooperation. Laura stayed by his side, often teasing him about how much time he spent poring over data. "You're going to wear yourself out," she said one evening as they left the lab. "Even heroes need rest." "I'm not a hero," Nathan replied with a small laugh. I want to make sure we don't mess this up. This is our chance to do something right. For both of us." Laura nodded, her expression thoughtful. "It won't be easy, but at least we're trying." Meanwhile, Captain Olivia Grant continued to lead missions aboard the Eclipse *, now serving as a bridge between Earth and the Vincar fleet. She visited alien ships regularly, building trust through small gestures and open communication. It wasn't always smooth. Old prejudices lingered on both sides, but progress was undeniable. One day, as she walked through the corridors of a Vincar vessel, she noticed something unexpected. A mural depicting humans and aliens working together. It was crude but heartfelt, a symbol of hope etched into metal walls. Back on Earth, Ethan Park and Maria Lopes became unlikely celebrities. Their underground efforts had saved countless lives, and their innovations continued to shape the new alliance. Ethan often joked that he'd gone from being a hacker to an ambassador, while Maria focused on ensuring resources were distributed fairly. Together, they traveled the world, spreading a message of unity. But not everyone was happy. Some people refused to accept the Vincar, viewing them as invaders no matter what agreements were made. Protests flared up occasionally, and tensions remained high in certain regions. General Carter, who had once pushed for full-scale war, now worked tirelessly to maintain peace, knowing how fragile it was. One evening, Nathan stood outside the research facility, gazing up at the stars. Rachel joined him, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Thinking about everything?" she asked, handing him one. "Yeah," Nathan admitted. "It's hard to believe how far we've come. And yet, sometimes I wonder if it's enough." Rachel smiled softly. "It has to be. We can't go back to the way things were. Not after all this." He nodded, sipping his coffee. The night sky was clear, dotted with countless stars. Somewhere out there, dangers still lurked, unknown threats that might one day challenge humanity again. But for now, they had taken the first step towards something greater. As days turned into weeks, the bond between humans and Vincar grew stronger. Shared projects flourished, and children began learning bits of the Vincar language in school. Zin-9 visited Earth once, standing quietly as crowds gathered to see the alien leader who had chosen peace over destruction. Though many stared in awe or fear, others approached with curiosity, offering gifts or simply shaking its claw-like appendage. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and sacrifices. But for the first time, humanity wasn't facing them alone. Together, they had found a way to coexist, not perfectly, but with hope. As Nathan looked up at the stars one last time, he whispered to himself, "We'll be ready." Whatever came next, they would face it together.